Do y'all want me to?
Do we want you to what?
Oh, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? This is Melvin Nuji and guest speaker on here, cousin Skip. We're live taping this podcast, and this podcast is talking about relationships and how you meet people nowadays. Um, whether it's online or whether it's in a grocery store or how people are meeting people nowadays. And I'm going to turn it over to Nudgy and let her start off.
So we decided to do this podcast just to kind of talk about dating across generations, like the younger generation, the middle-aged generation, and the
And
older generation, how they're dating in 2021. So we thought it'd be a good discussion to have. They actually can get the whole family involved. Your teenagers that are dating, um, your young adults, and your older people. There are people that are dating after divorce or after, a spouse passed away. So that's pretty much what the discussion is about. So,
Well, there's a dating app for everybody out there. And there used to be apps that were specifically for a particular age group, but now people are traveling across apps just to see what the experience is and to see what types of relationships they can establish. There are some apps like Tinder and Bumble where the vast majority of the people on those particular sites are under 30. There's one called Hinge. I've never heard of Hinge before, but the Hinge app has 49% of people who are under 20. So I know this is probably not a place that I would be using if I were out on these particular types of sites.
Hinge sounds a little deranged. Just something to say. Hinge.
Well,
it's like I would take a few drinks and go.
Right.
Well, many of the dating apps that young people use are specifically for impromptu contacts. They're not looking for a lot of longevity. And the disadvantage that young people have is that many of them are not ready for long-term relationships. So I guess that would have something to do with the apps that you choose to go out on.
Yeah. It sounds like a hookup app. Just saying. Sounds like a Netflix and chill and chill some more and then chill some more.
No, it's not like a big up app.
Yeah.
Like Tinder. Like I mean, you look on your phone in Tinder and you see who's in your area, who's available, and there's that beat stuff going out.
It's like Instacart.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I know I'm just saying because I was using a Nancy phone one time and I was tapped on.
Oh, that's so ignorant. Don't
And I'm just
oh
like,
my God, are you serious?
what's he doing on Tinder?
No.
You know?
You know what? That's terrible. That's
Yeah. Hold on for a minute. We got a caller on the line.
that's
Caller?
you might want to answer it first.
Oh.
Like push.
Sorry.
No, it didn't hang up. You never pushed the answer.
Hello.
Put your speaker. We have a caller, and this is Mel's phone, so there is no technical difficulty. It's user error.
Hello. New York. New York.
Are you talking to Donna?
Yes, down in New York. How are you doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are things in New York?
Well, in central New York, it's cold, snowy, and windy.
Okay.
But I didn't have a question. I wanted to know how I could listen to them.
Oh, so we're streaming on Facebook, the Melon Nuji and Cousin Skip Facebook page.
The page.
Yeah, and you can also go to Twitch, Melon Nuji with Cousin Skip Twitch page also. Yeah, I am too, but I just found out what it was. But just go to our Facebook page and you can see it live there, and you can actually type us your question or a comment or whatever.
It's on live now.
I can do that.
Okay. Yeah, and we're on live right, and we're on live right now.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Donna. All right, that was Miss Donna.
Thank you for calling, Donna.
Yeah, she's gonna go to the website live. So, Cousin Skip, I'm sorry, you were saying about the pickup app? No, I'm sorry, about the dating app.
There's an app called Our Time, which is supposed to be for adults 50 and over. If you look up,
I'm on that app.
He probably is.
sorry.
I think I'm on that app.
Okay. Well, if you go and look these apps up, it'll give you a description of what type of success rate and what type of people typically use these sites. It's not a highly recommended one. I mean, there's Bumble, which they refer to as the female app or the ladies app, because the women get to choose. And they say this is for shy men or men who, I say it's for men who want to be chosen. Now, it can be for shy men, but on Bumble, women make the first move.
So what do you think about Christian Mingle?
I'm not familiar with Christian Mingle. I expected probably just a variation on a theme. On many of the other sites, people will tell you they're Christian or non-religious or spiritual, but this, that, or the other. I'm not sure. Sorry.
I said, then you might wind up in the freezer. But
Well, no, I'm just saying, I wouldn't join something like Christian Mingle because I mean, no, because I know I want to drive the car before I make the purchase. So there's no need of me joining Christian Mingle. So let's just be honest and be fair. I want to drive the car before I buy it. So Christian Mingle would not be a place I would go. Now, maybe I would go to Black People Meet, Tinder or somewhere like that. You just never know. There's good people everywhere.
Yeah. There's an app for everything. They even got an app for bikers that I just saw on Facebook. Bikers that are looking for other bikers. I don't know if it's to ride a bike. I don't know, but it's bikers looking for other bikers.
I think it's probably safe to assume that on the Christian Mingle app, they might be looking for Christian people. I don't think that precludes you from being able to test the wares before you go all in. But you will probably find that is the case with many of them.
But I don't want to get in there. I don't want to get in there and play the game. I don't want to get in and play the game. I just don't want to play the game. I mean, I just don't. It's just like when you meet somebody in church. It's like you meet them at the club. Like that's pretty much what it is. Yeah. So
Right about your dating. Like how different would you say your dating was in your you're all like 50 and above. So in your let's say your 20s versus your 40s versus now. Because that's crossing generations, right? So like how would I mean you may be still dating the same way you were dating when you were in your 20s, you know what I'm saying? You might. But there may have been some things that you kind of learned along the way. So how does that like if you had to break it down, would you say you got wiser? Or would you say you hold on one second, we have a caller. I know who this caller is. We got a caller.
hello, caller. Welcome to the show. How you doing? I'm doing well. Can you hear us? Okay. Well, you'll be here. Everybody else wants to start talking.
What's your question, caller? I'm laughing because I know who it is. That's why I'm laughing. You called in to listen?
So why aren't you dating right now? What's your problem? What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Have you been taking your medication?
My credit score, maybe buying a house, taking care of my grandkids. Love is not really a priority for me right now. If I want sex, I can get that, but I'm not really trying to be involved with anybody emotionally. Did I answer your question, sir?
No, it sounds like you wanna go to no. It sounds like you wanna go to the cemetery with intact emotions and a intact vagina and all the rest of the stuff that comes along with it. So that's
No, I
just
didn't
what
say
it
nothing
is.
about no attack vagina. We didn't say nothing about
Okay.
attack vagina.
Okay, let's focus.
So vagina gets hurt. That's not to say somewhere down the line, but right now it's just not a priority for me. As you get older, like your priority and your focus changes. Like I'm content with myself. Like I'm not looking for validation. I'm not looking to be whole. I'm already whole. Um, it's not a priority right now. That's really all it is. Seriously.
Okay, but don't you want somebody if you got sick to be there to hold your hand or to maybe go to a doctor's appointment with you or all that
Well,
kind of stuff?
yeah, I got my kids to do that, or my sisters.
But what about significant others? Somebody else that I mean, if you're happy with where you are, I understand it. I get it. But my thing about it is that it's nothing like having a love, somebody that you love or somebody that you're in love with. What do you think, cousin Skip?
Well, I think people will do what they decide to do that is accommodating their life at the time. Because, a lot of people are not looking for um, intimate, long term engaged relationships. And those are the people who go to apps that with like minded people who aren't looking for commitments. Um, there's a comment from a young lady in the chat who made a comment about the previous topic where we were discussing Christian mingle. And she noted that we assume that Christian women don't engage in premarital sex. And I think we should probably qualify that because that is definitely not the case. I think more the
Yeah,
case is I think more the case with Christian Mingle is that people are looking for other Christian people to interact with. I think
Cousin Skip.
sure.
Caller, thank you for calling. We're talking about your particular call, but thank you so much. We got to open the line up. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
thank you.
Go ahead, Cousin Skip. I'm sorry. We had a caller holding, and I didn't want to keep holding.
Oh, I see. Well, that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
I'm done. I'm done.
Oh,
Okay.
but I get what you're saying about the whole Christian mingle thing. But the whole thing is that I don't want to go in there with my hedonistic, narcissistic ways that I have about myself and mislead anybody down the wrong road when
I understand.
I'm
And you
not that
shouldn't.
guy. You know what I mean? I
Right.
just want I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to church every Sunday, and I know I was raised in the church, so I know everybody on their knees in church ain't praying. So with that being said, I just want to make sure that I'm in a good space when it's my time. Or I wouldn't, and I wasn't insinuating that the women on Christian Mingle don't
Right.
get into it, because I know a lot of Christian women that do get into it constantly. Um, I must say, but it's just one of those things. It's just this whole app thing is a new way of dating now. But you can get catfish on this app thing though too, and I've been catfished before.
So explain what that
That's an excellent point that you raised. That's just what I was thinking.
Yeah, people can get catfish, and I want to tell my catfish story is because one time I was out playing golf. A friend of mine called me up. She lives in Atlanta, and she said that Melvin, your face is on POF. She said, "So you doing construction work now?" I was like, "No." I said, "I went to school, so I'm not going to work with my hands. That's out." And she was like, "I figured that much." She said, "Somebody's using your face and your likeness, and they got your picture." And so I've been talking to them, and you're on POF, and that's called Plenty of Fish. That's the website. So I went on there. My picture was on there. It was me. I was like, "Dang, that is me." So you know, I contacted the person. I asked him, "Why are you using my what's the name?" He's like, "Cause you get a lot of hits and this, that, and other, so forth and so on." So I was just like, nah, this is not for me, and I left it there. And not to say that I have not been on dating websites before, because I have, but I just didn't happen to be on that particular one at that particular time when that was happening. So you really have to be careful because people can mask themselves behind a keyboard. They can hide themselves behind a keyboard, so
if they can master themselves right in front of their face. I think to Cousin Skip's point, I think people that join Christian Mingle and go on Christian Mingle, they're looking for people with the same faith, not necessarily with the same morals, but the same faith, and that's a big difference. Everybody knows the rumor and what people used to say about the women in the church, and men used to go to church to find. You want to find a fast woman, go to church. That used to be something that people would say. So I think Christian Mingle is not necessarily the same moral compass, but the same faith. And as we know,
Right.
people hide behind their faith in terms of the title of it, with no intentions on following the rule of it. So
Right.
I think, like Cousin Skip said, it's a variation. So you got Christian Mingle, you got Black People Meet, assuming that all Black people go to that site to meet other Black people, right? May not be the case. There might be other ethnicities that go.
It's a jump off site. It's a jump off
Right.
site.
So that's what I'm saying. So I don't think I think it's Priscilla McCabe, I believe is her name. To her point, I'm definitely not assuming that Christian women don't engage in premarital sex because we all know that ain't true. Now I know there's some of y'all that don't, and that's fine. But overall, I won't say overall. We'll say there's a good percentage.
This is the exception and not the rule.
Right. 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 So I think so having that information, what would we say? He's looking at the chat in case you wonder why he's looking great. Um, so what would we say to the question? What would we say would be different, right? So when in our 20s, I don't think the dating apps were as prevalent as they are now, right? Because there's like a slew of them. But how would we say things differ from, let's say in your 30s, let's not go back to the 20s, from your 30s to your, yeah.
It's probably the same thing in terms, regardless of your age. People have access to mobile devices, and you can carry your dating apps with you wherever you go. You can always be on notice or receive notifications from people who are on the apps. Young people frequently aren't looking for long-term relationships, so they go to those apps. But I don't see anything much different in dating except the forum. I think people's motivations are still the same. Whether they want a quick hit, this might be an easier way to get it. If you want multiple people, if you want multiple people to choose from, this is an easier way to do it. If you want people to reach out to you and you don't want to reach out to anybody, you can sit and wait for that. You know?
Okay, hold on a second. Let me get the number out. 202. If you want to call into the podcast, it's 202 227 6500.
Thank you, cousin.
No problem. Caller, how you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. What's your name, caller?
AJ Davis.
Okay, AJ, talk to us. What you got going on?
Well, I would like to talk about my experiences of using Tinder.
Okay, sounds good.
What's your age, AJ?
I am 22 years old.
Oh, you're 22 years old. Okay, so you should have Tinder on your phone. Because if I was 22, I would have Tinder on my phone too.
AJ, what's your experiences on Tinder? You would. Jesus.
Yes.
Okay.
Skip
So,
Tinder.
my experiences on Tinder were pretty bizarre, only because, since I'm a shy, introvert individual, it's very hard for me to be socially with other people. And when I decided to use Tinder, it was very hard for me to try and find that right individual to talk to, because everybody had their own different type of preferences and what they wanted in the. So
did you just, well, you were on Tinder. Did you just want to talk to her, or did you just want to just slay the dragon? Which one was it?
I would say I was more into the relationship part.
Okay.
Getting to know the person part.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not the app for him.
Yeah. Then right.
That's not the app for you. You may need to go somewhere. Tinder is a place where you go, to my knowledge, which I have been told by my counterparts, that you just go there just for a hookup, whatever. They have they have people in your general neighborhood that you just hook up with. And if that's not what you're looking for, that's not what you're looking for. That's good to hear that is coming from a young man, that's not what you're looking for. That's really good.
I will, however, say that I did eventually meet one female, but she was a little too fast for me.
It's good to know that that's not what you're looking for, and if that's not the speed you're going, that's not the speed you're going.
Right.
Not like this one.
Well, that's refreshing to hear
Right.
a young
Thank you,
man
Paul.
say.
Appreciate you calling.
That's very
Yeah,
refreshing.
so thank you.
Thank you.
That's refreshing to hear a young man say that a woman is moving too fast for him, because most women and most men, for that matter, think all we want to do is slay the dragon.
Right.
When that's not the case with all men. A lot of men want monogamous relationships, and a lot of them are out here on the sites looking for that. But you've got to weed through them. You got to sort through them. You have to get to know them.
So hold on 1 second. So one of our chatters, because one of the questions in the description when I put the podcast out was, would you recycle a relationship? As you get older, would you recycle a relationship? And Dion Farmer said she would recycle a relationship, especially if there weren't any real issues significantly that broke us up. Right now, it's safe, respectful, and mature. Only thing is one. Wait a minute. Only thing is one is caring for the other more than the other. We've discussed moving at a pace that wouldn't be labeled as monogamous, just taking it one day at a time. So she basically said she would recycle a relationship if there was no major issues. And then Tina Matthews says, yeah, I don't agree with the statement that apps are primarily for people that don't want long distance relationships. No, I think he said long term relationships, not distance. Um, and then Dion also said what he don't need to be on Tinder, auntie mode. That's his aunt. That's AJ's aunt. so,
I,
what you got to say? Because I know it's
as,
something coming.
as far as recycling somebody, I don't like to recycle because they're your ex for a reason. They're your ex for a reason. So my thing about it is that women say if this didn't happen, if wasn't so bad, I would go back to him, or if he just changed this, I would go back to him. I'm not doing all that. Do you know how long it took me to get this trifling and stay this way? I'm not changing up gears at this time. I'm 51. I'm 51. I'm not changing up gears. I'm just not doing it. I told you before, and me and Nancy, we had this conversation off and on camera about recycling, but also too, I don't want to be a sponsor. I want a partner. If I got 35 cents, you need to have a dime or even 15 cents.
But here's the thing.
So it's one of the two things.
But
I don't want to be a
also
sponsor.
about the recycling. If you were, say you were with someone, right, and things didn't work out at the time, nothing major happened. You just decided to part ways for whatever the reason, and then a couple years later, you run into that person again, or you guys decide to rekindle a relationship. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because people do grow, people do change. So, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, and sometimes you go with what's comfortable. You know what I mean? Sometimes. Oh, there's a caller.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're doing well. How are you doing today?
And you.
I'm good. Hey, Nancy. Guys, this is an awesome, awesome topic. So I wanted to thank you guys for reviewing this thing and allowing people to chime in. First, Nancy, I wanted to tell you in the description on YouTube, your phone number is off by one number.
Yeah, it's
you have
227. Yeah.
Okay, because I called some dude and he was like, "You got the wrong number." So anyway,
Thank you for that. I just put it the correct one.
I'll wait my turn a little bit. And so, would you recycle a relationship from the past that ended amicably? I'm gonna go with a fat no on that one. Because it absolutely ended for a reason, and if it was that good, you would have stayed and tried to sort of make it work. And so I absolutely would not. I don't even like the word recycle.
Caller, what's your name?
Tracy. I'm sorry, Tracy.
Okay, Tracy, I like the way you think. I like the way you think. These two right here, they recycle trash on Thursday. I put all my trash in the same bag and put it out on Friday the same day. So look, I don't go back to recycling because you're ex for a reason, and you're gonna do something or say something crazy that's gonna make me sit back and say, you know what? this is why we broke up from Jump Street.
Exactly. So now I'm glad that we agree on this one because I disagree with you on the first one. Like,
Now, what was the first one?
That it was either you or Cousin Skip that when the Cousin Skip retracted after AJ called, but that said that people go on the dating apps because they want some butt, like the solely because they want the butt. Relationships.
Well, we do. We do. Well, I can say men do. I can speak from a man's standpoint. Not all men, but
right.
But a lot of us do. A lot of us do. You know, what Cousin Skip said. The technology when I was a younger man, I would probably would have grown up to be a pimp or something. I mean,
yeah, but a lot of women keep that game though. So if we're on there for something else and y'all ain't giving it, we keep that from the door and we'll move on from that.
I don't know if y'all will move on. Some of y'all staying in line. Some of y'all staying in line. Some of y'all staying in line like y'all voting.
Not grown women.
Thank you. Can I get a high five to grown women? You want a high five? Hold on, no. I know you want to do it.
No.
I know you want to do it.
And the last thing, Nancy, I'm glad that you said when you guys were talking about the Christian women that whatever, I'm like, yeah, that's not the truth. So thank you for clearing that up. Not all Christian women, but some of them are out there a little loose. So we ain't going to act like they ain't. So anyway, thank you.
Right. All right, thank you for calling. Ignore him. What you about to say something crazy? Go ahead. What you gonna say?
No. I'm scared that you have any churches you would recommend.
Oh.
That's all I want to know. Yeah. Is there any churches you want to let us know about?
No, let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you. One of our viewers said that Dion Farmer, she said, well, not everyone needs intimacy. Maybe there's just the companionship that's important. So maybe people going on that site, not necessarily for intimacy.
Tell her she want a friend, buy a dog. If she wants some companionship. Tell her get her a dog or get her a cat. You know. Tell her get her a dog and something she can rub on if she don't want whatever.
On the serious side, many people who go on these apps, they may be looking for companionship. They just want to be respectable about it, you know. They might be looking for intimacy, but they want to get to know something about this person because they don't just, they have their self-respect and dignity that they have to deal with. And they want to at least go through the motions before they close the deal.
To that point, Skip, I wanted to say, I think the difference between when you're in your 30s to now, I don't even know what he's brewing in his head, is sometimes I think it's easier to get to know a person or to kind of ask your questions, do your Q&A prior to meeting them. Because, some people be posting pictures from when they was 20 and you see they 65. I'm sorry, looking 65, or they're photoshopped. And it's like, well, wait a minute, you didn't have that extra lip when I saw your picture.
Right.
So I think, right. So sometimes I think it's a good thing to kind of weed out stuff because
it happens all the time.
Right, one thing that that I've noticed is that by the first or second response from them what their motive is, what they're going, and the ones that never even read your profile, never even looked at it. They saw your picture, that was it.
Who got time to read your profile? Who got time to do all of that? Nobody. We need to look at you. We need to look. That's because he got time on his hands. I don't have that kind of time. I need to look at you and make sure that you're nice looking and then I can take you out somewhere and you can
If you
speak.
want to be a cuckoo,
Hold for a minute. Hold for a
You
minute.
don't care if she can speak, huh?
No. Hey, look, she got on a mask anyway. I don't care. I don't care. She don't have on a mask anyway. She don't have to have teeth in her mouth. You know, I'm saying we live in a COVID world, so it's what it is. But I think the whole dating thing is that.
So I guess if she had COVID and she couldn't really say it because they ain't interested in what she has to say.
No, I think the whole dating thing is that you have to find somebody who matches your crazy. That's it. You have to find
If that's what
somebody.
it is.
Exactly.
When do you find a person that matches your crazy? Because you're saying she even got to speak. You're not even gonna look at her profile. She could be a damn serial killer, and by the time you go to drink that glass of water, she done put some strychnine and some shit up in your water, and you can't. You know what I mean? Her crazy is off the chain. By the way, we have a Tracy said cousin Skip for president. She said exactly cousin Skip for president.
And then he be the vice president.
Like, damn angry.
And ask him, can I be vice president?
Of
So I
course.
can stick him in the back door.
She said she agrees about matching your crazy.
Yeah, no, you gotta find somebody who would just equally as crazy as you are.
I think you gotta find somebody that can balance you.
Like-minded.
Unhinged, and sometimes the other person can balance. They don't take away your crazy necessarily, but they can reel you in when you need to be reeled in. Unless you're gonna be too Bonnie and Clyde, just after striking.
Well, and y'all know me. Y'all know I'm a book author, and I kind of tell my own story. And I'm not going to tell my own story on this one, but I've been married twice. My first marriage was great. My second marriage was a horror story. So I knew that it was time for me to get out of it because I wasn't going to spend the rest of my life with somebody that I knew that it wasn't going to work.
Now, if you would have let her smoke, you would have known she was crazy.
You know.
Don't let her speak. You would have known she was crazy.
I think she spoke a little too much, but I think
you kind of overlooked it for whatever reason.
No, I mean some things you just don't see, and to hindsight the afterwards. You know, sometimes you don't see the afterwards until you got to go back and actually refocus on, you know, what's going on and what's happening and how did I miss the body in the freezer. You know what I mean? So you go through that.
Looking at real quick, Tracy said intellectual stimulation is a must. Very.
This is why you read people's profiles.
Exactly, because you can be fine in all of that. You can be fine in all of that and can't carry a sentence with punctuation. And that's the thing. And some of y'all, and women get caught up too. Some of y'all men know, y'all get caught up with the cute body, the booty and all of that. And she a clown. She's a straight clown. And vice versa. And then y'all be like, well, she got body, yeah, but she cuckoo. Ask the last one.
Plus, reading profiles will let you know if you're actually communicating with that person,
right,
or if you're communicating with a fake profile,
or if it's cut and paste.
Right.
Yeah. That's the thing. And so I think what happens a lot of times that really tarnishes. It tarnishes people that are really looking for something serious, right? It tarnishes because
you're not Steve Harvey, so you're not that Steve Harvey woman.
No, I don't think women should date like a man. I think women should date like a man. But anyway, I don't agree with that. I don't subscribe to that at all. But what I'm saying is sometimes when you go on some of these sites, you can tell the dudes that have used the same line and got away with it because they keep using the same line. And then the moment but the thing is it's tiring, I would imagine, because then they come across a person that ain't buying into the BS, right? And then it's like, oh, okay. On the next one, and so stupid, they come right back around to the same person. They just, oh, okay. Like, why are you back?
Well, men feel the same way about women when they talk about, oh, me and him, we broke because he did this and he did that, this, that, and other. When relationships break up, both people have some type of culpability in it. Both people have got,
Usually, not
yeah,
always.
you have some type of culpability in it.
Personal responsibility to some degree. Is what you're saying.
Exactly. Even if you turn out to be a bad picker like me, in my last marriage, I was a bad picker. I didn't pick the right damn fruit. Yeah, I was right. Exactly. I was looking for tomatoes, and I was over in the apple orchard some goddamn where. So exactly. My thing about it that hey, it looked all the same to me this time. Yeah. So so my thing about it is you get what you get when you don't pay attention. And you have to pay attention to what's going on around you. Huh? Because I rather sit down and act stuff with the person. Because the person right, because the person started telling me, oh, my boyfriend did this or my ex-husband did that, or you got 3 kids by 3 different men and ain't none of these men marry you. It can't be just them. And my problem is that, and I'll say this, I know there's a lot of people who's gonna say something on the call, is that I don't like to date women who have raised male children.
Why is that?
The reason why I don't like to date women that who have raised male children is because they tend to think that they can talk to their man the way they talk to that male child. And you can't talk to me that way.
So, okay, so let me ask you a question. Date women that have raised male children or that are raising male children? There's a difference. Because if they're not in the house.
I generally don't.
Which
Period.
one?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
Both. I generally don't go support because they're sometimes they lean into that mother type thing, and my mother's still alive.
Oh, okay.
You
Okay.
know, I had two
So
good
because it wasn't masculine.
right. I had two good grandmothers that raised me. So I'm not the type of guy that's going to sit back and take that type of. You're going to talk to me like I'm your kid or something. I'm not that type of guy. So it's going to be
That's not every woman now. That's not every woman.
that's not every woman, but I've tested enough out.
Okay, so you don't. Right.
Exactly. Like I'm like, how many people got to die from corona before we actually get a virus that works? You know what I mean? How many black people do I have to do business with before I say all of us black people need to stick together? So it's one of those type of things.
One of the audience members said, Tracy said, I agree with the shared culpability. There's always something that both of you could have done better. It is never just one person. And then she said, Mel sounds like he's a little anti-woman. Mel, you're against it today, buddy. Good.
I think the point that Mel overlooks is that so many women are single parents. And by virtue of being a single parent, whether you're raising a boy or a girl, you have to learn to be an independent, strong person because you have to represent that child throughout their young lives and into adulthood. You've got to teach them, you've got to train them, and you've got to protect them. So, yeah, sometimes women, they do become overly, from a man's point of view, independent, But I get your point.
Yeah, you can't talk to a man like he's the boss.
That was Tina, that's not Tracy, I'm sorry.
Especially when he got his own. Tina got her own set of problems. Tina got her own set of problems. And I
raised 3 boys.
Yeah.
Got a grandson.
Exactly. Tina got her own set of problems. I don't know what Tina got going on, but I'm gonna send her a dog.
Wait a minute. And she said, right. Lumping everyone into the same category limits your possibilities. Thank you, cousin Skip. That was on point. Whatever you just said, it was on point.
But cousin Skip, there's no all in every. You know what I mean? Like every white person isn't a racist, and all black people aren't criminals. So there's not an all in every.
Right.
So, but I don't have time to go out here and test drive every single mom that's out here to try to see, which one is right for me and which one is wrong for me.
You should have your own criteria for choosing your partners. Yes, you should.
And the last time I didn't, and I ran into craziness. Hold on for 1 second. We got a call. Caller, welcome to the show. What's your name? Hey, Tina, how you doing?
I am a 50-some-year-old woman, so I'm very, very grown. And I'm also evolving into who I was created to be. And I'm saying that to say, when you know who you are and you're comfortable in your own skin, you are okay with your thoughts, your choices, your decisions. Me saying right now I choose not to date doesn't mean that I don't want love or don't want companionship and don't want to build with somebody. That's saying right now in my life, I'm mature enough to know that my focus needs to be on Tina. So that when I get to a place where I feel comfortable, I can invite somebody else in. The problem, I think, with dating apps and apps in general is a lot of people aren't comfortable with themselves before they start inviting other people in.
Exactly.
There's
Very good
like
point.
people that are messed up cutting their mess. And I'm like big dogs, German Shepherds,
Tina. When you get a chance, you go online, you need to order this book right here. You need to order this book. This is a great book. It's #1 bestseller. You need to go out. You need to really get this book. It's a great book. But what I want to say to you, Tina, is that I'm glad that you called to get that off your chest. How do you feel now?
I feel now that you might have been hurt in one of your relationships. And so now what you're doing to guard your heart, and you have categorized women in specific boxes that you don't let them out of. And I think because of that, you may very well be missing out on the opportunity to experience something great with someone great. For instance, you mentioned you don't want to date women that have raised no children. Okay, I understand that. However, if you're dealing with a grown woman who recognizes that a mother can only do but so much with her man son, she recognizes who she is in the spectrum of things. She recognizes that she has to train her son as best as she could to be a productive man. She's not trying to be nobody's mom. She understands all that. Then you might have a good experience, but you can't assume. Like, for instance, I have a male son, and I'm a single parent. And one thing I do know and will tell any woman is a woman cannot raise a boy to be a man. There are certain things you can't give them because I'm not a man. I'm like a woman that would try to baby you because I raised a male child. I don't want to date you enough, but I'm saying hypothetically. I'm one of them women you said you would never date, but I'm not that kind of woman. You understand what I'm saying?
All right, speed it up, Tina. I'm trying to let you get it all out because we gotta go. But go ahead, speed it up. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Thank you.
All right, but no. Oh, she did. All right. Bye.
To the ladies' comment about culpability, have any of you, or me for that matter, ever been involved with a narcissist?
Yeah.
They can be very charming, but equally as deadly.
Yeah, but
you don't want to spend too much time with that kind of person.
No.
Once you recognize it,
keep it moving. You better match energy and keep it moving.
Right.
You match energy and keep it moving. You got to shut it all the way down. You can't even play with it. You got to shut it all the way down.
Right.
That's just how that goes. So, man, what you talking about with policy?
In reference to the dating apps, I think dating is dating whatever forum you use. If you meet somebody at the bar, the club, or the grocery store, you need to evaluate them. You need to listen to them as they speak. Well, if you're on the dating site, you really should be reading their profiles. If somebody sends you a like and it says they haven't read your, they're sending you likes and flirts, but they don't send you a message. Well,
Right.
you have to wonder, they're just clicking on pictures. I'm not sure you should get excited about that. You
Right.
you want to hear what someone has to say to you.
Right. And it's to the caller's point too. When you're not comfortable with yourself, right? You can be easily persuaded by those types of responses and those types of
Sure.
the flirts, the hearts, and all of that, and you totally bypass the fact that this person can't even speak.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
This one
Cut
right
it
here.
out. Cut it out. Cut it out. Because just stop it. Because we all know that you have to kiss some frogs in order to get to the king.
Right, but not in the same time.
So my
You kissing on the sidewalk, man.
no, but my thing, but my thing about it is that everybody has had that one crazy or that two crazy or that three crazy or in my case a whole tribe. So
Okay, so to that point now, you had a whole tribe of crazy. So why are you not wanting to do things differently?
You really don't know how to pick them, huh?
Right.
You keep picking
It's
crazy.
like this. All right, you. You. And your little dog.
I mean I don't and hold on for a minute.
You don't have to kiss no frog. As soon as what I want, I'm out. Right.
Right.
And she's running by herself too.
She,
That's the sister. You know her?
I know everybody on there except for Priscilla.
Oh, okay.
And no, I don't know.
Okay. But no, I think that when it comes down to it, and I say it again, you have to get somebody to match your crazy because none of us are perfect. And the older we get, the more we get set in our ways. We get set in certain ways we want, certain things we want, certain ways we want to look, certain things we want to go after. And we just get set that way, and that's just the way it is. And that's kind of like the prejudice that you have when it comes down to dating and when you have in life.
There's no room for growth.
No, there's always room for growth.
Well,
Like, but
if your position is you ain't got time to test the waters or whatever, you just want what you want, and the tribe is crazy. So when does growth happen though, right? So when does now say, okay, this I've been doing has not been working in terms of from a longevity standpoint or whatever it is that you're looking for.
As you go along with that particular person, you know how to go. You don't treat everybody the same, and as you go along,
should your approach be the same?
Should
your approach be the same? If you don't treat everybody the same, should your approach be the same?
No, because women ask me all the time, "What are you looking for in a woman?" And I tell them, "I'll know it when I see it." I know, and that's no. Hold on for a minute. I tell them I'll know it when I see it because if I don't, I can't say, oh, I want her to be spiritually grounded. I want her to be a Christian. I want her to be smart. I want her to have a degree. Yada yada. I can't have this whole Jesus bucket list that women like to give out to men that we ought to have, and we should be this and we should be that. And they're none of what they list on that list. They're none of that. They're none of what they say that they're on that list. So when they ask me what am I looking for in a woman, I say I'll know it when I see it. It's like a car. I've had from Mercedes to Porsches to McLaren to you name it. I don't know that car until I want to get that car until I see it, until I drive it. To I have experience. Yeah, to spend some time with it. So I don't know. So people say, well, you don't have a general idea, whatever. No, because I don't know because Because what may work for Karen may not work for Susan. What may work for Susan may not work for Kim.
Generalities, though, right? And I'm not saying generalities are necessarily the right generalities or not, but they're generalities, right? Like I don't date short guys. I'm just saying, I just don't. I don't. But I know that about me. Call it what you want to call it.
Racist.
Whatever. I mean, I'm 5'4". I don't date short guys. Shorter than me, I'll say that. Okay, short guy.
I think everybody, whether they recognize it or not, has some criteria that they use to choose their partners. Now, sure, we know the real deal when we meet it, but I don't want a woman who can't use the language. I don't want a woman who can't meet me intellectually and hold a conversation as opposed to 1 and 3 word sentences. I like somebody who can work the New York Times crossword puzzle with me. These are just my personal criteria. And the intimacy, I mean, intellect for me is sexy as hell. I like that. A woman that's smart, she moves me. And this is not about what she looks like.
Because looks, I always say looks is what attracts you, but it's not what keeps you.
Yes, that's so true. That's so true.
Priscilla said some of us will just take the bus thing now. No, you haven't. And then Tracy said, Mel, but do you know the values you want in a woman? You have to know that. If not, that may be a part of the problem. And then she said, not everyone gets set in their ways. As I age, I'm becoming more flexible. I think so in some cases.
What? She's setting herself up for a good one. She said she's becoming so flexible.
Like Priscilla said, some of us will just take the bus.
Right. And Brazil, I had no problem with taking the bus. They got big windows. Everybody can see me.
Take the bus than Mel.
Right. That's not a problem. And I'd rather see them on the bus than on mail. So that's fine.
So look, let's get some guys to call it too. Ladies, truly appreciate it. Keep it coming. Mel's gonna have to patch his wounds up a little bit later, but let's hear from some guys. Call in, gentlemen, women, young adults, 202-227-6500. We're on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. And I just found out what Twitch was probably a couple weeks ago. But anyway, we're there too. So feel free to send us a message, call us. This is a good lively discussion. So we're more than happy to hear from you guys. But I would love to hear from some of you guys. How many of you guys share Mel's perspective or Cousin Skip's perspective? So give us a call. Let us know. Let us know what's going on. So, but yeah. So Mel, you gearing up to say something crazy? Go ahead. You can't help it.
No, I'm not. I'm not gearing up to say anything crazy. I just think that you have to find somebody who matches your crazy. That's what you have to do. You have to find somebody who's going to match your crazy. Yeah. And because we all got a little bit of weirdness about us, whether we want to admit it or not.
No, we all do.
Yeah. I would call them idiosyncrasies instead of weirdness.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No,
that's true.
I've been like, she's weird. She's weird. You know what I mean?
So what's weird though? Some people would say weird is crazy. Some people say weird is just have certain idiosyncrasies, and some people. What do you consider weird?
You're constantly living in the past all the time, and you're always talking about, oh, my ex-boyfriend did this. Oh, when I talk to women, they say my ex-husband did this. I scratched his car up. I did this. Those type of women I go out on dates, those are one-time dates. Because my thing about it is that if they did that to their husband's or their last boyfriend's car, guess who next? And it's going to be Melvin calling Cousin Skip, which they collect call from, the county penitentiary. And I'll be asking you for some
the county penitentiary, huh?
Right. Yeah, from the commissary. Yeah. Nasty has been saying commissary all day long, Skip. I don't know if she's sending somebody money or I don't know what she's doing. But it's somebody getting some money at the commissary from her. Because that's all she's been saying all day long is commissary. And I'll be like, why do you keep saying that? Who do you know in jail?
So what else you got? Nobody answered the question.
About what?
How is your dating different from when you like your 30s to now? Like Tracy said, she's become more flexible, right? And I will say for myself, I see more and tolerate less from from dating before. So what would you say?
When I was 30, I thought I knew what I wanted in a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew how I wanted that relationship to make me feel. But at 30, I wasn't really mature enough to have a sustained, ongoing, responsible relationship.
Yeah.
And I was in college, I was working full time, I was enjoying being 30. I thought I wanted a girlfriend, but I wanted a girlfriend and a piece of cake on the side. What Fabulous say? Well, we know what Fabulous say. I got a wife, but ain't nothing like the side piece. You need them both. That's the way I felt at 30.
But it ain't no need of you going through. I never know nobody who went through a drive-through and just ordered a 3 piece without a biscuit. You gotta have a biscuit on the side.
And that's why,
I'm just saying.
That's why you had to try the crazy.
I'm just saying.
They all knew it was a side dish.
You gotta have a side dish. Yeah, I'm just saying. What?
Go ahead. So when you were in your 40s and 50s.
Well, the point I'm making is, as you get older and you trash what may have been really good possibilities, you learn as you move on and you begin to appreciate the qualities, the good qualities in a person that they bring to the relationship. You learn how to nurture those qualities in a person, and you learn what to do so that those qualities stay present. And that means that you have to bring your best all the time, and they should bring their best, because it's not about 50-50. There are no 50-50 relationships. No. If it's 70-30 and I'm giving 70, as long as your 30 is the best that you've got, I'm okay with that. As long as you're consistent 30 and it's the best you have, then I'll bring my 70 and we'll have 100% there.
That's funny. That's Melvin's disagreement over here.
Okay.
Hey, if it works for you, it works for me. But I need you to bring the old King Caboodle to the game.
Well, if it ain't 30%, that's what you got.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, if you love that person that much, and that's what and that's what you feel about that person.
That's the point.
But see, with me, that would slow me up because I'm a constant thinker and I'm a constant doer. So that would bore me to death.
But here's the thing: you don't know what it is that you are looking for or that you want. How do you know that's not the whole kit and caboodle? Because, for example, somebody may not be as financially secure as you, right? But they may bring a level of intellect that balances you, or they may bring something else that complements you to so you can thrive more. They may have your back. They may be more nurturing. They may be that other piece that you don't have. So because they don't come with the same thing, the finances or whatever, they get discounted. Cousin Skip, brother, you have been on point with a lot of things that you've said. Some people should learn the difference between having something to say and just saying shit. Appreciate you, brother. Okay. All right, well, And Tina said, a lot of times we attract the people that mirror who and what we are. Good point, Tina. That mirror who and what we are inside.
You've been drinking again. But
thanks, Rob. Thanks, Tina. Thanks, Dion. Thanks, Tracy.
But I say this, I say most 95% of the time, and I think she's a little bit right on that, is that sometimes you attract who you are. You know, you attract who you are and you attract what you are. And you don't get what you want out of life. You get what you negotiate out of life. I don't care. I don't care whether it's a business deal. I don't care whether it's a good book deal. I don't care what it is. You don't you don't get what you want out of life. You get what you negotiate, and you have to negotiate exactly what you want out of life in order to get what you want. That's how you do it. And that was one of my biggest problems that I ran into last time, is that I didn't negotiate what I wanted. I just took I just pretty much just took what I wanted. I just negotiated. And that was a problem.
You for relationship, you go into the boardroom. That's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem because sometimes you go into the boardroom, you take people to do what you bring that same mentality. That's problematic because then you are insensitive to the needs of that person, or no, even yourself to some degree.
No, I think men and women think totally different. Men,
Not all men, not all women.
men, we tend to want to solve the problem. Women want to know the whys, the wherefores, and what have yous, and all that other stuff. We just want stuff to be solved and go
Right.
away,
No, I'm with
and
Renee.
move on to the next thing.
Guys want things.
Right,
We
right,
get
yeah,
that. You
you're
get
right,
our backstory and all the details.
right,
We don't
yeah,
really care nothing about
exactly. We just want to know, is it fixed, is it done? And when I was married the first time, my wife, I can honestly tell you, I didn't know how much my mortgage was. I didn't know how much I know how much my cardinals was. I know how much the electric bill was. All I know is that I just handed her a stack of cash the first of the month. I put it in the bank, or I gave it to her in cash or whatever, and everything was taken care of from there. I didn't care what went on and that type of thing. Now I'm a little older. I'm a numbers guy now. I'm a numbers guy. I'm strictly into numbers right now. That's just where I'm at. So I mean, it's one of those things.
Somebody said preach because you better preach.
I'm sorry.
Someone, Tina said, you better preach, Skip.
Uh, well,
Dion said, well said, cousin Skip.
So damn lonely.
this is just the difference in the 17 years between us, and our experiences with our environment. We both have the same grandmother, and we both lived with that grandmother. And experience is one thing. What I took from that experience is another. But
Right.
we're different people. We're different people. And I respond to my life experiences the way that I do. And he responds the way that he does. You know.
As the thing about it is that we were both raised by the same grandmothers in different time periods.
Yeah, okay.
Because when I was born, she was already old. So then to have to raise me from 14 to 18, or 14 to 21, to whenever I got school, whatever, was like I don't think it was a heavy pull on her, because it wasn't a heavy pull on me, because I knew she wasn't taking shit off of me. So yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. I knew how far I could push the envelope, and how far I could go, and how far I couldn't go. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's like when you were kids growing up, you knew you had to be in by the time the street lights came on.
Right.
So it's not like it is nowadays where kids have phones and different things like that. But yeah, it would be hard to believe that people are listening to us, Skip, if we were raised by the same person. They wouldn't believe it.
If I'm saying this, Mel, good point.
But before we wrap up the show,
Uh-huh.
I think we should all give our final impressions or opinions of dating apps and that whole dating process.
Okay.
Okay, we'll let you want to go first.
Sure. I think dating apps are useful. And I think if you are serious about finding a person or a real partner who is who can compliment you and you'll be able to compliment them, you need to be on several sites. And you need to have a standard of what you're going to respond to and what you're not going to respond to. And you need to have a standard of how long it's going to take you to speak to somebody on the telephone and how long it's going to actually take you to see that person. Because that profile picture usually ain't who you're going to be talking to. So, you need to cut to that chase sooner than later. But dating is dating, and only the forum has changed. You have to be wiser to use these formats, but the process is the same.
Right, right. So my opinion
Go ahead, Najee.
of dating apps, I think they definitely are useful. I think that once you make a connection, whether it be the profile or whatever, that first couple of interactions, you need to take it offline. So that
Exactly.
you need to take it offline. Because a lot of people will be online, be online, be online, be online. Then they meet the person after a couple months, and now they're mad because this joker is 85 years old, but his picture online was when he was 40. So I think
Exactly.
you should just take it offline, and I think it serves a purpose, right? I think it serves a purpose. I think you can meet some good people on there, and some people it may not be a love connection; it just may be a friendship that you develop. So I think if you use it responsibly, and also know what your why is, like why you're going on the site. Like if you in fact are going on the site because you need a hookup, then be clear about the fact that you need a hookup.
Nice.
Go
Yeah,
to a hookup site.
Right, exactly. But definitely, you can really tell what's what because I don't know, like that hedge thing that you talked about. I ain't never heard no hedge, but edge sounds like something out of CSI. But so that's my thing. I think it can be useful. I think it's if it's used the way that whatever your intentions of it is. I'll say it's used based on what your end game is.
But
So
your objectives are right.
right.
I think it's and I'll wrap this up, and I'll be quick. I think this is the new way of us meeting and interacting with one another. I had a teacher who told me many years ago, Mr. Brooks. He told me that our technology will surpass our humanity as human beings. So we do everything by telephone. We do everything by computers. We meet people in coffee houses, and we meet people on computers. Then we meet them in coffee houses and different places like that. But I think you should just find somebody who just as crazy as you and just as nutty as you, and just make it work. And realize that you're not perfect. They're not going to be perfect, and just go ahead and just make it work. And our imperfections sometimes does make us perfect because I've dated a lot of women who have taught me a whole lot of things and have brought me up on a whole lot of things. And then I've dated a lot of cuckoos who made me actually want to go lay on somebody's couch and wonder whether I was crazy or not. So with that being said, this new modern way of dating is a good thing to do. Even though you meet their agent before you meet them,
Right.
um, and go ahead and go from there. But I would like to see more websites out there where you actually pick up the phone and you call somebody instead of typing in what you need to type in,
I think Match.com has that.
because you can always block
Yeah.
somebody's number off of your phone or whatever it is that you need to do.
And I would say go on one that you have to pay for. because that weeds out some of the riffraff. Most people that's on it will look up ain't paying for nothing. So try to find one that people have to pay for and not $10. I'm just saying that may be helpful. Maybe helpful. I don't know.
What you pay, $10?
Whatever. So anyway, so listen, we're gonna shut this down, but feel free to on our any of our pages, send us a comment what you thought about the podcast. If there's some topics you would like for us to talk about in the future, pass it along. We'll be having these pop-up podcasts periodically. We'll be having them regularly. And go
to Melvin Medea at Facebook.com and go in there and befriend me and go in there and look at Nudgy's her stuff which she has on her website. Look at Cousin Skip's website.
What's your website?
My website is Juan Levante Nicholson on Facebook, or you can go to my thewisdomoferyman.com site on Facebook as well.
Right. You guys know my check us out.
And my stuff is on YouTube on One Man One Opinion. I have my own show on there. You guys can check that out. That podcast is pretty good. We mainly talk about business and making money and that type of thing. And I also too, I almost forgot Uptron Solutions. I have some ink. I have ink.org. I have some beautiful, beautiful attire on there. And a great artist by the name of Tyler Keller, who does all my artwork for me. So you want to go to that website, Melvin and Vinny Bethia on Facebook, and check out their website because it's great.
Thank you all for your patience. Thank you for joining us. We're happy that you chimed in and offered your opinions. And this is what we are hoping this podcast will become. So thank you very much for joining us.
All right.